It's important to understand that your health is only going to be as strong as the weakest link in what's termed, or I like to term, the chain of health. Some people also refer to it as a wheel of health. And if you can really grasp that one core concept, then it'll do you wonders with your health, because a lot of people focus on their strengths, right? Because they don't want to suck at anything. So where your weaknesses are, people feel vulnerable, so they say, yeah, I know I'm not good at that, but I go to the gym, or I get a lot of sun, or I sleep a lot. It's only going to be limited by your weakest link. So all the links in the chain are important, and it's not a healthy approach to get myopic in any one of them. I mean, you get people that are nuts about raw food, it's like a religion, and you get people that are nuts about exercise, and nuts about the sun, and all kinds of things. So the key is to keep the balance.
We're nuts about all three of those you just mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's something that the raw do really well. I mean, besides being a lot of fun to hang out with, but you can tell when you look at them. You know, they're vibrant, and they got to be doing something right. And I think it's keeping the balance of all the factors of health that's really important. So absolutely, I incorporate this into my practice with patients and clients, because the way I see it is simply this. Most PTs only focus on the exercise piece. I mean, you think of physical therapy, you think, okay, I get these little exercises with a piece of TheraBand, right? Okay, so in the chain of health that I just mentioned, if you break it up in percentages, that means most PTs are addressing 12.5% of the total health equation. No wonder their patients don't get better. Right? The other 87.5% is being neglected for whatever reason. Either they're reserved, or they're, well, it's not really our job to educate them on that. And I don't agree with that at all. Our scope of practice is very broad. Again, it depends on your state, so you need to check your state laws, but I know in Georgia it's very broad. We are total licensed to be wellness practitioners and health practitioners on top of just rehab people. So it's amazing. It does bother me when even people in my own profession say, well, we're not real doctors. And gosh, that pisses me off. Because I'm like, what does that mean? Doctor means teacher. So we are real doctors, and your doctor, whoever you're working with, whether it's a doctor of physical therapy, doctor of chiropractic, doctor of being a naturopath, or a regular medical doctor, they better be teaching you something, and something valuable. And if they're not, find a new one, because they're not doing you much good if they're not teaching you and they're not a role model themselves.
Yeah, that's a good thing you said about not being a role model themselves, because just like our last Rob of the Week, although y'all don't share the same exact diet, you do share a lot of the same beliefs, and that was one of the things Paul Check talked on was, if you don't wear it, don't share it.
That's right. And Paul is entertaining as hell, a very well-read man, and I really respect Paul, and I like him. I do. We've never met personally. One day, Paul, maybe I'll meet you, we can work out, and just talk about stuff. I do think you're a good guy, and I like your philosophies, that's for sure, and you're definitely walking the talk, and I dig that, man.
What do you think about, like, you saw some of the videos, right? And there was definitely a mixed response, especially from the vegan following. Do you have anything to say about that by any chance?
No, not on that. It's because a lot of this stuff gets into a lot of philosophy and philosophical things, especially about the food side of stuff. If is vegetarian a flawed concept, and you know, if there's animals, so to speak, in the soil that the plants are taking, is there really such thing as vegan? It's a very philosophical thing. So it really is going to depend on who you ask. You know, and I kind of try to stay out of all the big debates on this, because I just want to try to love everybody and try to be a role model based on things. You know, I lean to the vegan veg side of stuff and try to be a role model on that side. But on the same side, if you try this and it doesn't work for you, and you're one of my clients, I'd probably try to help you find something that does work, though. I gotta tell you.
And one of the things he did touch on was I can just ask you for your personal, how you've personally experienced this, was the sex drive. That was a big topic on a vegan diet. And you've been a vegan for how long?
10 years.
10 years. So how's your sex drive?
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I think that the key is to get a variety of nutrients in your diet. Any one diet that's just very, again, myopic, so you're not getting enough nutrients and enough foods throughout the year, you're going to suffer time to time. And your body will tell you, without a doubt. If your sex drive isn't going, then you're going to know it. Because it's just, stuff's just not operating correctly.
If you look at a bunch of coconuts and you don't get banana, there might be something wrong.
Yeah, I think with the sex drive thing, the vegan side of things, with people, if they go crazy on just fruits and vegetables and neglect other foods, nuts and seeds, even certain sprouted foods, I think they're going to run a chance eventually of having an issue with that, because they're going to be lacking certain minerals. and especially zinc and things like that. It's going to affect your libido, there's no doubt. And the other thing is, besides just the diet, it goes back to the rest of the chain again. Some people's sex drive may be down because their cortisol levels are way up, which is a stress hormone. And when cortisol goes up, then all the anabolic hormones go down. So if you're really stringing yourself out, burning a candle at both ends, not getting enough sleep, not getting enough sun, your sex drive is going to go down. And people would say, oh yeah, it's because of the diet. And that's not necessarily always true. So you got to just take always a holistic look at your whole lifestyle and think about what you may be leaving out before you look to food. But definitely, if it is a dietary thing, you need to fix it. And for the vegans, vegetarians, if you don't want to consume other foods of the animal nature, then you might want to consider supplementing if you need to. If you need to. And I don't know that everybody does, but I've found people who need to, and it's made a difference for them. And I think the key is, once you do, to ask the question, why did I get to this place? Why did I need to? Do I need to find better food, locally grown food that's heavily more mineralized, or did I string myself out and become mineral deficient that way? Whatever the reason is, but really take a look at that and try to correct things.
Yeah, I can definitely speak for ourselves. I think there was a little confusion that the reason that we wanted to start incorporating animal products to maybe experiment to see if that was going to boost our sex drive. Our goal was not, the Rob-Rows are not going around trying to get laid. The idea was that our sex drive, all three of our sex drives were diminished compared to what they were before. And we just believed that having a strong sex drive is an indication of health. So it was not necessarily that we're popping a boner in the morning was our goal, but more that it was an indicator of health, and then it showed in the weight room, it showed through our energy throughout the day.
It's kind of like if you own a car in Southern California and one day you decide to turn the windshield wipers and they don't work. It doesn't rain in Southern California, but you want to figure out why it's not working. Yeah.
He sells a lot of cars.
No, I like that. I do. You gotta be honest with yourself, and there's something to consider with long-term health too, in regards to a lot of people have a history of poor health, especially if we all grew up with a standard American lifestyle and diet. So for every 4 to 5 years of not so great living, you're going to have to invest at least one to get those back. And I know the good news is that formula kind of works. The bad news is, yeah, that means you're going to have to invest some time maybe. But I don't really like to look at it as bad news. The key is, I've watched people 30, 40, 50 years old totally turn their health around just by investing a few years to get it all back. And if you plan on living a while, then I always think it's worth it. I mean, there's no greater investment than your health. You got squat if you don't have your health. You have no wealth if you don't have your health. I can't tell you how many wealthy people I met who are miserable because, I mean, they have all the money and everything they ever want, but they're miserable because they have no health. And so they end up hiring someone like me, or maybe someone like the Broads, to help them figure it out at that point. And hopefully they can keep it straight, once you teach them the basic things you need to do.
It's kind of a funny process. So many people don't eat in a healthy or a conducive way to health because they're trying to save money, and then in the long run, they end up paying to rehabilitate their health, whether it's through a doctor or whether it's through a surgery or whether it's through medicine, and it's just this weird cycle where you could just invest in it from the beginning. Invest in some of these.
It's like contemplating whether to go to Costa Rica or not, It's like, well, this trip to Costa Rica is going to cost me a lot of money, but the Costa Rica is actually, the translation is the rich coast. You know why? Because when you go to Costa Rica, you're going to find your health, which then turns into wealth.
Absolutely. One of the big phrases in Costa Rica is pura vida. That means a pure life. And really, if you get out on the outskirts, right where the farmland is, I have friends that own Finca de Vida, where I run my health retreats, and these guys have visited there. They can tell you it is an amazing place. And the Farm of Life, Finca de Vida, Brian and Jody Calvi own this farm, 36-acre organic farm. If you go there and you don't feel better, then you tried not to. It is almost impossible to go to this place and not heal or feel better. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. Yeah, people shortcut all the time. Oh, I can't afford organic food. And I said, do you see the irony that you pay like $200 a month on heartburn medication, but you can't spend 50 cents extra for organic banana or something? It doesn't make sense. And I think the pharmacists that we should focus on are the Farmassists, the pharmacists, assist the farmers, and that can lead you a long way to better health.